Welcome to our 50th vlog episode. I've actually set something up that's going to be really fun today. We've got a game. We've arranged a game. We've put 2 questions each in this bag.
I put 3.
You put 3? Okay, so Kayl put 3 questions in. I put 2 questions in. We're going to each take a question out of this. We haven't seen these before. We're going to each take a question out of this bag without looking from our Wren's bag. This is not a sponsored video, but we do have lots of these Wren's bags.
And we do love Wren's.
We do love Wren's, for sure. Okay, so the first question to Kayl is actually the question I wrote, which it seemed appropriate enough that I would pull my own question. But for Kayl, what is your earliest memory of me?
Can you read that chicken scratch? Because
it's hard, I know.
See all the cards.
What is your earliest memory of me?
My earliest memory of you is not really, I think, what people want to hear. It's just that you were a cool guy that was like being a part of the apprenticeship program.
People want to hear that.
And that I thought you were like easy to get along with. But I wasn't like, there's like no romantic backline where I was like, I'm gonna marry that guy one day. It was just like, oh, he's a cool guy. Okay, so I suppose I have to ask you what your earliest memory of me was.
You were the fill-in head instructor for grade 2.
Uh-huh.
And I thought you were maybe...
And why would that be?
Well, I'll tell you why. It makes total sense because I was a brand new, dog obedience student. I knew nothing really about dog obedience or dog training, and my dog was playing on leash with another dog, and I'd worked so hard to get her to pay attention to me. And in hindsight, it totally makes sense. But you walked in the room and you told me, you said, hey, don't let them play on leash in class. And I thought, wow, she's so angry. I can't believe this girl. Vlog episode number 50, and it has been quite a run. I would have never imagined, I guess 3 months ago, that we would have published 50 vlog episodes. It's been amazing. It's also been challenging, but what we realized after going back through some of the older videos was that we talk a lot about the dogs and the things that we're doing with the dogs, but we haven't really talked about ourselves that much. And for this 50th episode, we wanted to do something a little bit different and let you guys know a little bit about who we are. I've also come up with a fun little game, a little idea. We've written down questions for each other that we're going to ask for the first time on camera. So Kayl doesn't know what my questions are, I don't know what her questions are, and we're going to answer them for you guys at home.
I'm going to guess they have nothing to do with each other.
Yeah, we're going to see. We're all going to find out at the same time.
We're going to go into the question bag. Do I pick one that I wrote or that you wrote?
Yeah, whatever. Just grab the one sheet that you...
This is the one that I'm feeling.
Okay.
Oh, it's yours.
Nice.
Okay. Which one of the dogs do I remind you of the most?
Yeah. So which one of the dogs do I remind you of the most?
Well, I know my answer for you already.
Okay.
I'm interested to hear yours, though.
Yeah. Which one of the dogs do I remind you of the most?
I asked you first.
No. I would say Funky Monkey. You remind me of Funky Monkey because you're like cute and sweet, but you're so loud when you want to be loud. Like it's unbelievable how loud Funky's bark is. But
she is really loud.
Yeah, but she's also super intense at sports and she is pretty awesome. So.
Aw, that's sweet. Which one of the dogs do you remind me of the most? And I would definitely say Rad. And I would say Rad because you can be like super intense and like focused on a job, which Rad can be too, but you also have like a super goofy side, and so does Rad. Yeah. Rad is like so dorky and so goofy, and you can have like that same thing.
Yeah, I think that's a compliment. I mean, we love all of our dogs.
It is a compliment, yeah. But don't you think that you're the most like Rad though? Really?
I guess so. Yeah.
I'm not sure I would have picked Funky for myself.
Introspectively thought that.
I suppose I'm maybe the most like her.
I would say so.
But I feel like Rad's the most like you, or you're the most like Rad.
I'll take it. Okay, back into the bag of questions. The next question is Kayl's because it's so well written. Her penmanship is pretty amazing. What is one thing I do that can always make you laugh, even when you don't want to? There's one thing I do that can always make you laugh, even when you don't want to.
You have several things that you do. Ken, early on in a relationship, had no idea when he needed to like leave me alone or when he needed to like poke and pry at me. You're much better at that now. But now I would say that if I'm tired or upset or angry, he has one go-to move that he does every time, and I want so badly to like not play along, but I can't because he's ridiculous, and that is the trumpet dance.
Ridiculously charming.
Yes. He makes trumpet noises with his mouth and does this specific song, and then he forces me to ballroom dance with him. Poorly, by the way.
I am a terrible dancer.
Around the kitchen,
Yeah.
and then he spins me until I start laughing because it's so ridiculous. But I must say that it works. In fact, actually, you did it earlier today.
I did, in
because
fact.
I was sitting at my computer for like 5 hours, and I was getting really frustrated because I wasn't being creative, and he felt that I needed a break.
Yes, have to
Which
tear,
it helped actually.
tear
because
up
I
the
did really
dance
good after
floor.
that.
That's what you got to do when you're not feeling great.
So now the question, you have to answer it. What's one thing that I do that makes you laugh even when you don't want to?
Yeah, I would say when you get sayings wrong. I don't want to laugh at them, but like you say some really great sayings.
You know what? It's because I'm creative. I like
Maybe that's
to make up my own sayings.
Kayl loves to use like very classic sayings, like I wouldn't touch him with a 10-foot pole, but she like switches them up a little bit. So I wouldn't throw him with a 10-foot pole, or I don't know.
No, I like to say I wouldn't trust him with a 10-foot
I wouldn't
pole.
trust him with a 10-foot pole.
Which technically does make sense, because would you trust somebody that was like coming at you with a 10-foot pole?
That's not the saying. Okay, question number 4.
It's gonna be a good one.
These are all Kayl's questions, and I feel outnumbered.
What is something that you were surprised to learn about me once we started dating?
Once we started dating, it's challenging because most people don't know that you're like an incredible singer, and you like sang professionally. I would say probably how good you were at that, like how good of a singer you were. Because although we were friends,
Nice.
yeah. Although we were friends, I knew that she had a background in singing, but we'd go out to like places out for dinner, or when we went to Vegas, for example, for our anniversary, she got up on stage at the Hard Rock Cafe.
House of Blues.
Or House of Blues, sorry, yeah. And she got up on stage at the House of Blues, and
That was terribly nerve-wracking.
yeah, it tore the place down. It was really, really great. So I probably didn't know how great a singer you were at that time.
I do like singing quite a bit.
So I'll ask you the question then. What is something you were surprised to learn about me once we started dating?
Can I give you 2 answers?
Sure.
One is funny, and one is similar to the answer you gave.
Okay.
So I'll give you the similar one. I was very surprised to learn that you played the drums, and I didn't realize that you could like play the drums until one time we were playing Guitar Hero. Or no, Rock Band, I guess it would have been.
Yeah.
And you were like slaying the drum part on expert, and I couldn't believe it because I thought I was like fairly musical, and I couldn't even do it on like beginner very well. So I always had to do the singing part. And then we got our own set of drums. I got Ken drums for his birthday or something like that.
I was actually I was signed to a record label when I was a teenager. Like I was in a band and I was a drummer in that band.
We will definitely be showing you a picture from his one of his album covers.
Oh yeah.
On this video.
For sure.
The second thing that I was surprised to learn about Ken is that he had no idea how to do something simple like slice a tomato or do anything really with something to do with the kitchen.
Yeah, I know. People always ask me because I'm a firefighter. I don't know why people think this, but they're always like, "Oh, do you do lots of cooking?" And I do not. I've been washing dishes for my entire career. I can't really. I'm just not good in the kitchen. It's something that I've never learned to do. And I go out of my way to like when we were first dating, I would try to make like special desserts and things, and I would have to research like I'd go to YouTube tutorials to figure out how to how you make a pie, how you put pie filling in a pie, and then you put the top on. Like, again, I'm sure the terminology is way off, but these are skills that I don't have.
Somewhat better now, but still a work in progress.
Question number 5. What non-dog hobby that we do together do you enjoy the most? I would say, what non-dog hobby do we do together that I enjoy the most? Music, for sure. And I know we talked a little bit about this before, but Kayl and I actually also have a music channel, and I'm going to put a link in the description. We don't post to it a lot, and Kayl's looks really, she has that look on her face like, don't let everybody know. But I'll post a link in the description below. You can check out our music channel. We don't post it very often, but it's fun. We as we talked about before, Kayl's a really great musician. You know, she can really sing, and you know, I can play some instruments.
He can also sing.
Yeah, mostly in opera, like an opera voice. That's
Yeah.
my favorite thing to do. But I would say that's my favorite non-dog thing that we do. That's my favorite.
I would say, I don't know what my favorite one is. I thought that I was writing the question for you. I would say when we go on like trips on the bike.
Yeah,
that's fun.
That's fun. Yeah, yeah. I have a Harley Davidson motorcycle. So you know, if it's a nice day and we don't have dog stuff to do, sometimes we'll go out for a tour on that, and that is a lot of fun.
That is tons of fun.
Therapeutic.
Or just when we do like crazy adventures, which we haven't really done lately, but we'll go like randomly, we'll go like go-karting or to like a trampoline park or indoor skydiving.
Yeah.
Or just like random things like that.
And here's a great part.
It's fun.
We'll take you guys with us.
Where do you want to go? Now, as you guys probably know, we are both professional dog trainers, and both of us actually come from a dog training background or some type of involvement with dogs, although they were very different. So I'm going to let Ken start off and talking about what he's sort of been experienced with as far as dogs go.
For sure, yeah. So I grew up in a household that raised and trained working dogs, and dogs were never a pet. They were more often, you know, they're used for tracking and some scent stuff, but it was never the experience of having a family pet. So when I got my first family pet, I got a black Labrador named Deegan, who you see in the vlogs today. I got her about 10 or 11 years ago now. It was a totally new experience for me, and my first year with Deegan was challenging, to say the least. So I had Deegan about a little over a year, and I started experiencing challenges with her. She was, I gave her all the worst information that you could possibly give your puppy, because again, it was my first, you know, family dog, house dog, and you know, I just didn't give her great information, you know, up to that point. So I would be walking down the street, and she would be spinning around on the end of her leash, and you know, she would be eating things in the house, you know, tearing apart socks and eating tennis balls. And I'll never forget, I took her down to the groomer, which I didn't do too often with her, but I took her down to the groomer, and who is just down the street a little ways, and I was walking home, and I got a phone call, and it was maybe 10 minutes later, and the groomer said, you can come pick up Deegan now. And I thought, wow, this is like the most efficient groomer ever. I'm amazed that this happened so quickly. So by the time I get down to pick Deegan up, the groomer opens the door, and she's soaking head to toe, like dripping wet. And I guess Deegan loved the water. So as she was bathing Deegan would spin around in circles and jump and bounce, and accidentally pulled her over into the tub. And I felt really bad about that, and she told me that I couldn't come back until Deegan had some training.
Oh, Deegan.
So I went to my vet, and I was talking to him about some of the issues that I was having with Deegan, and he suggested that I go to McCann Professional Dog Trainers. So it wasn't something that I was really looking forward to. I didn't really want to have to train my dog, but I went, and after about the third lesson, I was really noticing a difference, and I was really starting to enjoy dog training, something that I hadn't even thought of. It was a necessity for me. But I continued to train her. I trained her all through grade 1, and I loved it so much I went on to grades 2, 3, and 4. And you know, I fell in love with the process and just how, you know, training a dog, how much fun it was, what an amazing relationship you could build with the dog. And you know, you fast forward to 18 months later, and I was doing you know, agility demonstrations in front of thousands of people at the Toronto Sportsman Show and at Ontario Place. So I mean, it was a success story for sure.
You were a fast tracker.
I was a fast tracker.
Now, as the last name applies, I am one of the McCann children, one of 3 actually, and oddly enough, probably the one that is most involved in the dogs today. Although my little brother and sister have a dog of their own and know all the dog stuff and that type of thing, but they are off sort of succeeding in other areas in life right now. But I grew up with dogs my whole life. My parents started the business the year I was born, so basically by the time I was walking and talking, I was also walking and talking to and with the dogs. I got my first dog when I was 3 years old. My parents got me a border collie named Piper. They did a lot of her initial training, and by the time I was like 5 or 6 or 7, I was starting to teach her how to do agility. Now, agility back then is like nothing like it is now, but I was successful in getting her to go over obstacles, go through obstacles. She was a super like compliant little border collie and did everything that I wanted her to. Probably the best first dog anybody could ask for. And then I just progressed on to doing more competing. I started teaching classes when I was about 15 or 16 years old. Initially very difficult because a lot of the adults saw this like little blonde girl and just would look over top of me to like the adults and didn't think I knew what I was talking about. But I was, as I said before, raised around dogs. I had learned about the training process. By the time I was 10 years old, I could walk 15 dogs off leash around our property without any problems. Both of my parents were really great about teaching me about the dogs, and it's something that I really like to do. I was adamant as a young kid, if it was my dog, I had to feed the dog, I had to walk the dog. And it was sort of weird because normally I think parents get dogs for kids and they're like, I'm only gonna get you this dog if you walk it and you feed it. And my parents were like, it's okay, we're feeding the other 14 dogs, we'll look after it. And I was like, no way, my dog, I want to do it. So I was always really passionate about the dogs. It sort of was something that I was never forced to do or anything like that. It was always something I wanted to do. Pretty sure it kept me out of a lot of trouble growing up.
I would think so, knowing you now.
I mean, I managed to get into some trouble, but it also came with the cost of getting up at 7 o'clock in the morning to go to a dog show the next day. So I probably could have been worse. But then, you know, as the years progressed, I started to get more and more involved with the business. Started doing more competing, a little bit more competitively. I've gone through, oh my gosh, I don't know how many dogs I've even had to date. How bad is that? Well over 10, I'm sure. And yeah, then as the progressions kept going, I started to become in charge of a lot of the training and programs at the school. And at the time that Ken was in classes, I was instructing, and then I was also in charge of our apprenticeship program. So I was in charge of gathering new students and teaching them how to be instructors, training them to be part of our McCann staff. And that's how I actually met Ken.
So with all of the dog training that I was doing with my Black Lab Deegan, I was hanging around the McCann facility all the time. I was renting out spaces and training my dog. And at some point someone mentioned to me that there was an apprenticeship program. And I thought, well, this is perfect. I would love to train dogs. It would be so much fun. And I went to the orientation night, or the first meeting, and talked with Marty and Deb and Kayl. And Kayl was, because Kayl was in charge of the apprenticeship program, she and I, began working together. She began instructing me, and I'm not sure what you remember about that. If you remember, I was especially challenging, or maybe I was like a star student, which would totally make sense.
I actually don't really remember. I remember thinking it was weird that out of all the classes you had taken prior to being asked to be an apprentice, that I had never taught you before. I think I'd only taught you once, and I was filling in for an instructor at the time.
In grade 2.
It was in grade 2, that's right. I remember you were good with the dog, but I didn't really remember anything specific, sorry.
Yeah, that's a shame. I did all these things, and clearly nothing stuck.
What a lot of people don't realize is that Ken and I were actually like really good friends, best friends, I would say, for probably 5 or 6 years before we even dated. And when I tell people that know me from the agility world, they seem often very surprised by that, because poor Ken in that side of things is sort of known as Kayl's boyfriend instead of like
it's so true.
Ken Steep, the instructor. But he's been teaching classes and dog training and doing like his own education as far as the dogs go for many years. We did all kinds of teaching together far before he was ever my boyfriend, and that's been really great, because it's nice to have that common interest, but it's also nice to date somebody who actually understands dogs and can like make them listen. Certainly makes my life easier for sure.
The reality is I've been teaching dogs family obedience for like 10 years now, and multiple classes a week. Certainly, I've trained thousands of dogs with McCann dogs, and it's such a gratifying experience because, you know, there was a time in my life where, you know, I was working two emergency services jobs. I was a firefighter and a paramedic. I've been doing that for almost 20 years. And, you know, I'd come home and Deegan, my black lab, was like the thing that, you know, that would just, I could just feel, it's so therapeutic to hang out with her. And having trained a dog in family obedience, you know, you realize what a relationship you build. Like they really become your family member. And, you know, it's so gratifying to be able to help someone else with that, to be able to like see a student in week 1 or lesson 2 with their first week where they bring the dog to the class. And then you fast forward a few weeks where they've done some training and you've given them lots of information, and you can see that there's a bond there, a relationship that's genuine. It's just so gratifying. And you know, it was one of the reasons that I loved training dogs for years before Kayl and I were even you know, dating. However, it's often our table fodder, like that we're always talking about dogs and we're talking about dogs a lot.
Yeah.
Or dog training a lot. You know, that's a common conversation while we're having a conversation about something else at dinner time. You know, something about dogs or our dogs or dog training or dog agility will come up, and it's nice to be able to have a conversation on that level.
I think that's also how you probably like learned so quickly in agility as well, because he was taking classes doing agility but not really doing any teaching, and then when you're around me, I suppose,
Yeah,
you learn
that's really true.
a lot about agility because we're always talking about it. And then I would start competing and he would come to watch me, to support me, and all of a sudden he would be like, oh, your front cross was late here, or this and that, and I would be like, how do you know all of that?
Yeah.
And you started to develop a really good eye. And so then I was thinking, well, you need to start helping me at the arena. So you started helping with classes, and you're really good at it. And then I got worried that the students were going to like you better than me because you're sweet.
I am pretty sweet. It's probably all the cookies I eat. So after a while, Kayl and I were both in a position where we were, you know, I guess single, looking for a relationship, and it just, you know, one thing led to another, and I asked her out on our first date. Now here's...
No, that's not how it happened.
No?
I believe we were downstairs in my house and we were just hanging out like we normally do, and you literally said, so I was thinking, and I was like, what are you thinking? And then you said, so I was thinking that maybe we should date. That's how you asked me out.
Yeah,
And then I was like, yeah, probably. And
sounds like something I'd do.
It was very casual, and looking, if I was a fly on the wall, it would be like hysterical to watch, but we were both so like, yeah, probably. And then we just went on with our day.
Yeah. So here's an interesting secret, because we thought our first date was January 5th, 2012. And at the time, because, you know, we didn't really know what people would think at the hall, because we'd been friends for so long. We thought it'd be kind of scandalous. So we didn't tell anybody at McCann's, and this is a secret that you guys are getting, you know, your first time anybody's hearing this. So we just sort of kept it a secret, even though we'd had our first date. And I arranged this really fun night in Toronto, and we went, and I had...
it was the craziest first date.
It was pretty crazy. We went to the CN Tower. I had like all these singers and people come out to sing her happy birthday. It's not her birthday. It wasn't her birthday.
He used to make happy birthday pranks on me in every restaurant that we ever went to.
That was great.
I thought it got old, but everybody else thought it was pretty funny.
It was, every time it was hilarious to me. But yeah, so we just kept it on the down low kind of, and slowly but surely people started to figure it out.
But then when we finally told everybody, then like especially our closest friends were like, yeah, we knew already.
Yeah.
Jamie actually used to tell me like far before we ever dated that you and I would end up being together.
Yeah, she's a prophet, I guess.
Yeah, I guess she must know. She must see into the future.
Reads people. Yeah.
And that brings us to today. I believe we are approaching what year is it? 2017. So
I think I know where this is going.
The 6-year mark.
I don't like the smile on her face.
There is no ring
I knew that was coming.
on my finger. Actually, there is, but it's not a real engagement ring. It's one that he gave me a long time ago. I probably shouldn't wear a ring on this finger, because then if he decided to pop a ring out at some point, it wouldn't fit because there's already one on here. If you think that Ken and I should get engaged, you should hit the like button.
This video was my idea, and now I feel horribly uncomfortable that I've set this whole situation up.
Hilarious.
Yeah, but now we live, in our house together with our 7 dogs, and we teach multiple classes every single week, and now that we've reached our 50th vlog episode, you guys have some idea of what our lives are like. Like, the emphasis is on our dogs. They are our family members. We do, go out of our way to make sure that, we do fun and interesting things with them, and they are as well taken care for as they can be. And it's really a big part of our lives.
Yeah, I also think that it's important though that we both know that because we are so involved with the dogs as far as our work and our home life, I would say that we're pretty good at like being balanced and like doing lots of like non-doggy things as well in order to like not go crazy. But they're definitely a huge part of our life, and it makes it even easier to be able to interact with the dogs and travel all over and do all those types of things because we both enjoy it quite so much. Sometimes people struggle when like one person in the relationship wants to go out and do all these things that is very time consuming and the other person's not that really into it. We have the lucky opportunity to both want to do it and both do it together, which is good.
It is good. So it's been a lot of fun sharing our adventures with you over the course of 50 vlogs, and that's why we wanted to take a minute and just thank you guys today. It's amazing. We'll go to competitions, all over North America, and people say, "Oh, hi Ken, I watch your vlogs," and I've never met them before. And it's really fun, to meet all these new people. But we really appreciate all the views and the likes, and especially all the shares to spread our message. So keep doing that for us, guys. It's really, really appreciated. I want to thank you guys for watching. We're looking forward to the next 50 vlogs. We are got some exciting things coming down the pipe, and we can't wait to share them with you guys. But if this is your first time on the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We publish new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday to help you do something awesome with your dog. On that note, I'm Ken.
I'm Kayl.
Happy training. It's the wee hours of the morning. I've spent all night editing this 26-minute vlog. If you made it this far in the video, I'm impressed. Type #I made it into the comments below. We'll see you guys soon.